Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, a podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system. And frankly, screw that. Sick of it. And it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked with the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help a nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hey everyone, Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. This is going to be another solo podcast today. I apologize, we haven't had any podcasts out for a couple weeks. We had the San Diego conference, and I just got really busy and sidetracked there. So we're going to be doing a solo podcast today. If you want to be on the Elite MP podcast, by all means, please email me, justin@elitemp.com, and consider it basically a free consultation that's recorded. So if you want to be on the podcast, shoot me an email, justin@elitemp.com. So today I want to talk about a little bit more of a, not necessarily a clinical or a business topic, but I want to talk about finding balance in your life as an entrepreneur. At the San Diego conference, I talked to a lot of people there, and that was a real issue amongst people who are just starting their practice or the ones that are scaling and growing it. They just don't have any kind of balance in their life. They are stressed out all the time. They're anxious all the time. The business consumes their mind, essentially, right? It consumes their brain. It's basically one of the main things they're thinking about all the time. And so I want to talk about that today because I think it's a really, really important topic for anyone who's just starting out or anyone who's, in the hustle and the grind right now. You need to find balance in your life. Okay, especially as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to kind of preface this with a little bit of my story, okay, with, in regards to this. So I started my first practice in, I think it was 2017. And at the time I was working full time at an urgent care. I was picking up ER shifts. I was picking up shifts at a Suboxone clinic. And so I started my first practice, and I'm typically kind of an obsessive person in nature. Someone who has kind of an addictive personality, and I got addicted to my business, right? So basically I went from here to here, just full steam into my business, and it basically just engulfed my mind, all right? And I stayed that way for probably about 5 years, all right? And because of that, a lot of bad things happened in my life. So the positive of it, right? I started a medical cannabis clinic. I started an online HRT practice that I ended up selling. Started my men's health clinics. I started the Elite Nurse Practitioner. I started a property management business. I was investing in rental real estate. I got involved with a few land development projects. So it was just business, making money. And it didn't leave really a whole lot of room for anything else in my life. I hate to say this, but it almost felt like I really didn't have a whole lot of fun for 3 or 4 years. Like, I just really didn't. Like, I go on a couple vacations, I go on some vacations here or there, and it just ended up just drinking the whole time, kind of just to basically just numb my mind and not be thinking about my businesses. So it wasn't really that much fun looking back on it. So I didn't really have a whole lot of fun for a few years because I didn't have any balance. It was just hustle, business, hustle, make money. And, a lot of my personal relationships suffered because of that. I lost friends, romantic relationships kind of went down. A lot of bad things kind of happened there. Physical health didn't really deteriorate. I still was working out all the time and that kind of a thing. I probably wasn't eating the best. I was probably drinking too much. And so a lot of just negative things happened in my personal life. A lot of negative things happened for my mental health. I didn't have peace. I was not a peaceful person at all. I didn't have any kind of peace in my life. I was just always on the go. I was always high strung. That's what you want to call it. And like I said, it really affected my life in a negative way, looking back on it now. I probably didn't realize it at the time as much. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't really take it serious. And so, I paid the price for building financial freedom. I'm basically financially free at this point. And I paid a pretty heavy price for that. I really did. Jesus, like my dog was dying and she was at home, but I had to finish seeing my men's health patients. That's how ridiculous it got, and I got home and, the vet came over and we put her down or whatever. Like I should have spent my day with her that day. That's what I should have done, and that's something I'll probably regret for the rest of my life. So it was just, things like that. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about finding the balance. I want many of you not to make the same mistake that I made. All right. Because at the end of the day, you only have one life to live, right? You just have one life. You only have so many years on this planet, and you do have to sacrifice a lot to build financial freedom and to build businesses that work for you. You do have to sacrifice for that. No one's going to hand it to you. It's not easy, but you can do it in more of a balanced way. All right. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about finding the balance and doing things to keep yourself sane, happy, and peaceful. Really in the last year or two of my life, I've put a tremendous amount of effort and working on me, working on the problems inside of my head, the personality traits that I find to be probably kind of negative in nature, that while I use them in a positive aspect to build businesses and stuff, they are not a way to live a peaceful life. Okay. And so finding that peace was extremely difficult for me. And over the last couple of years, I put a lot of work working on myself. I've had to visit a lot of demons inside of my head that was very uncomfortable to deal with. We all have demons inside of our head. We all have these places you don't want to go inside of your mind, from maybe past traumas or things that have happened to you in the past, or anxieties, or, fucked up thoughts in your head. Just stuff like that. We all experience these things, and having to deal with them head on is very uncomfortable. But when you do it, you come out the other side so much more of a balanced person. So I'm sitting here rambling on about this, but I think it's very, very important. And so over the last year or two, I put a lot of work into myself. And, if you would have looked at Justin 4 years ago and looked at Justin now, if you knew Justin personally, you'd be like, he's a completely different person. And I'm a completely different person. I'm a more well-rounded person now. I'm a more balanced person. Honestly, I'm a happier person. I'm a more peaceful person. I don't take life so serious anymore. And it's pretty nice. And so you can live a peaceful life and also build a business by, I guess, doing the things I want to talk about today. So first off is determine if this is actually a problem or not. I suspect for many of you, probably the majority of you, this is probably a problem. You might not even realize it. And if you're shaking your head right now saying this isn't a problem, really think about it. It probably is. Are you sacrificing family and friend time because of your business? I know many of you are. I've talked to many of you guys at the conference. I know you are. And I kind of got on to you about it. Like, are you missing out time with your children? I have 2 kids now, and I realize how precious it is. Are you losing this time with them because you are just going balls to the wall with your business and working and doing those sorts of things? Are you sacrificing this time with your children that you're never going to get back? You're never going to get that back. When it's gone, right? Your kid's only 3 years old one time. Like, your kid's only 6 years old one time. Your kids love you as a parent and they want to be with you and they are your best friend up until 13. They start becoming a teenager and they want to start doing their own thing. Like, do you really want to give up on those precious moments and that precious time? Be really thinking about this. Are you really sacrificing a lot in your life for your business? Because I'll tell you what, 30 years from now, you're not going to remember the stuff that you did on a daily basis in your business, but you're going to remember those precious moments with your children, spending time with your friends and family. You're going to remember that kind of stuff, right? And so be thinking about it. Do an assessment. Do an assessment on yourself. Really just, get in a quiet room. No distractions. Turn your phone off. No sounds, nothing. Sit in a room. Lay on your bed or whatever and close your eyes and really, really think about it. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to visit probably some places in your mind you're not going to want to go, but the truth is it's going to manifest for yourself, right? It's going to show if this is true or not. And so if it is, then let's talk about how to fix that. All right. So first off, you have a business and you want to see it grow. You want to scale it. You want it to work for you. You want to become a millionaire. You want to develop financial freedom. That's fantastic, as you should. All right. And so you need to make sure that you do prioritize that, but you have to set some boundaries in your life. All right. I had an old mentor of mine tell me, an old business mentor of mine, he told me this 7 years ago or something. And he told me you can have 3 things in life. Well, you have 3 things in life. You can only have 2 of them. Your business, friends, family. Pick 2 because you can't have all 3. And that's pretty true for the most part. You can have your family and your business, but you're going to sacrifice your time with your friends. You can have your family and your friends and really focus in on them, and you're not going to have a whole lot of time for your business, right? You can have your business and friends. Hopefully you're not sacrificing your family for your friends, but I think you get my point. So I think that you need to set some boundaries. All right. You need to just say what is important to you in your life. And you need to make sure you structure your life in a way to where those important things are being taken care of. All right. So one of the easiest things that you can do is that you set aside time for your business. And when that time is up, you are done. You stop thinking about it. Okay. You're done. You walk away and you go home and you focus on your family. You focus on your friends. You say Friday at 5:00, I am done with my business. My weekend is my weekend and I am not going to touch my business. I'm not going to think about my business. I'm not going to work on my business. This is a lot easier said than done. All right. I realize that, but you have to set those boundaries. I never had those boundaries ever. I mean, I remember being in St. Lucia and I was deep sea fishing. All right. I caught this badass, like 400-pound blue marlin. And we were like 50 miles offshore. I don't know how I had a signal, but I had a signal. I had like 4 bars, 4G. We were in between 2 Caribbean islands, so I think probably the signals were, they were out there. And I remember catching that blue marlin. I'm on a boat in the Caribbean. It's beautiful. I'm catching fish and stuff. And I'm checking work emails and stuff. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and the other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. Really? You know what I mean? I didn't have any boundaries at all. So set some boundaries for yourself. This is the easiest thing that you can possibly do. And it seems like such common sense, but so many of us fail to do it. Set aside however many hours a week that you have. Set aside those hours, and those are the hours that you spend on your business. But when it's done, and you stop and you walk away. Well, you might be saying, well, Justin, how do I stop thinking about it? Like, how do I actually stop thinking about it? I'm going to give you a trick, all right? And this works for anything, by the way, any kind of intrusive thought, any kind of thought from the past or the future or anxiety or whatever, all right? This works for it. When the thought crosses your mind and you don't necessarily want to go down that path, you simply just say in your mind, you respond to that thought. You respond to it and you say, cool thought. What else? Ask it. What else? What's next? Cool thought. Like, to me, I'm like, cool, bro. I tell myself, cool thought, bro. Cool thought. All right. What else? Keep them coming. And I'll tell you what, nothing comes. It's fascinating how this works. Or you say, yeah, maybe not. Some anxiety comes across your mind, oh, shoot, did I chart on that patient? Oh, crap, did I pay my electric bill for my business? Oh, shoot, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do that? Did I do, am I going to get sued? Whatever. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Keep them coming. I'm serious. That's how you respond to those thoughts, all right? It's an intrusive thought, really, when you think about it. It borders OCD, honestly. Like, it's an obsessive thing, right? You're thinking about your business all the time. You're laying in bed thinking about your business, right? These thoughts just come. These anxieties come across these past things from these things in the past come across your mind or whatever. Like, these are intrusive thoughts. It's part of like the OCD spectrum. It really is, right? I mean, all of us have a little bit of this. Most business owners do. Like, only crazy people do what we do, right? So when it comes, that's how you respond to that thought. Many of you probably don't realize this, but this is how your mind works, all right? This might be a little bit theoretical in nature, spiritual in nature, kind of goes along the more of the Buddhist kind of perspective on your mind and life. But you have your awareness, right? That's your soul. It's your consciousness. It's whatever you want to call it. It's your presence. It's your awareness. It's that thing that listens to the voices in your head, the thoughts in your head, right? We all have voices in our head. It's called thinking. It's what it is, right? You have your awareness, and then you have your brain, and your brain is what's shooting off all these thoughts. Your awareness, your soul, your consciousness, your presence listens to it and decides how it wants to respond to the thought, right? This is how this works. Most people never go through their entire life and know and like really never realize this. You have your awareness. Your awareness is what makes you present, right? If you can shut off your brain, if you can shut off this little part, like your brain part, if you can shut this off, these thoughts, you just have your awareness left and you are truly present in the moment. No thoughts, just enjoying what's around you, all right? If you want a good book, read the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, okay? The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle changed my life, changed the way I view life. All right. It is extremely difficult. This is something that's not easy to do, guys. Right? This takes practice. This is what meditation's for. It takes a lot of practice to be able to be aware of your thoughts. Most people think they are their thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are your awareness. And how you respond to your thoughts is basically how you live your life. It's how you respond to them. Okay, it's how your awareness responds to those thoughts. If you get some anxious thought in your mind, say you're laying in bed and some crazy thought comes across, how am I gonna, maybe I should do this for marketing, maybe I should do that for marketing. Why is patient volume down this month? This next month's gonna be bad, blah, 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 right? Just all these anxious thoughts, right? That's your brain just producing thoughts, okay? And so if you're laying in bed and these thoughts come across your mind, your awareness, how you respond to that thought is up to you ultimately. It can make you anxious, okay, if you indulge in the thought, if you respond to the thought, if you decide to go the rabbit hole with that thought. You respond to the thought, and now it just becomes a rabbit hole. You just go down this thought and it just starts spiraling. Oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if this happened? Like you just start going, your mind just starts going all over the place, right? It's because you're not aware that it's happening. You're letting your mind dictate what's going on because there's two separate things inside your head. It is your awareness and it is your brain, all right? And it's basically your thoughts. It's your mind, right? So you have to respond to these thoughts if you want to have a peaceful, balanced life, and you need to respond to them appropriately. And what I just told you, it works. It takes practice, but I'm telling you, it works. Like it really does, guys. It's insane how it works. It blew my mind when I first started trying it. I'd have some thought that crossed my mind from the past or something that I would usually then just take the thought and I would just go down a rabbit hole and it ended up making me miserable for the rest of the day, right? Now if that thought or any kind of thought crosses my mind, I literally respond, cool thought, bro. Maybe, maybe not. Keep them coming. Keep those thoughts coming. That's how I respond to it. And I'll tell you what, it shuts it off. It's crazy. Then your mind is going to then throw another thought at you and you respond the same way. And eventually, no more thoughts come. And you're truly aware, present in the moment. It is a beautiful thing. So work on that, all right? Work on that so you can stop thinking about your business, your anxieties, your depressions. You can stop thinking about this stuff and truly be present with your family, with your friends, truly be present in the moment. Like if I go fishing, I'm truly present in the moment now. My mind's not somewhere else. I'm not sitting there thinking about business while I'm fishing. That used to happen. You know what I mean? But now I can actually enjoy being there. I can actually enjoy being present. I can enjoy being present with my boys now. You know what I mean? Work on it. All right? I'm serious. It will help you a lot. I know this sounds like pie in the sky, magic, foo-foo-fa-fa kind of stuff. But it works. It's a crazy mind trick. It's a Jedi mind trick. It really is. Work on that. And that'll allow you to find some balance and peace in your life inside of your mind when it comes to a business. Okay. Meditation is an amazing thing. I didn't believe in it. I thought it was just, I thought it was hippie garbage. I really did. That's what hippies do. I'm not going to do that. Well, I hate to admit it. I'm kind of a hippie. I hate to admit it. I just am. And so anyways, I started, I started meditating. I try to meditate every day for 30 minutes in the morning. I try to. Some days I don't, but most days, I would say 75% of the time I'm able to do a good 30-minute meditation. All right. when I walk away from that, I feel so much more level-headed. My day is so much better. I am so much more just peaceful, anxiety-free, more present. So work on it. It is a hard thing to do. This is not an easy thing to do, but I'll tell you, some of the most successful entrepreneurs in history learn how to meditate because it allows them to be more present when they're working. It allows them to give their 100% on the task as they work because their mind's not clouded with a bunch of other garbage. Steve Jobs, for example, he meditated. These guys meditate, and it's one. And if you listen to interviews, Ray Dalio, he's one of the most successful hedge fund investors of all time. The guy's a billionaire, and I was listening to a podcast with him on. I want to say it was either Joe Rogan or Diary of a CEO. I don't remember. And he said one of the most pivotal moments of his life as an investor, as an entrepreneur, is when he started meditating because it allowed him to focus on what matters when he needs to focus on it. So I'm telling you guys, learn how to meditate. It's really not that hard of a thing. It's really not. If you want to just close your eyes, focus on your breath. When a thought crosses your mind, maybe not, keep them coming. You basically try to keep your thoughts out of your mind and you focus on something inside of your body instead. You just try to become aware. So you become aware of your breath. You take nice, deep, slow breaths. You really focus on the breath, and it shuts your mind off. And it's so relaxing. It really is. There's a guy on YouTube here. I'm going to give you guys the video real quick. The name of it. I listen. It's a guided meditation, and I really like these. His name is Chibs Okereke Meditation. So that's CHIBS and then Okereke, OKEREKE, and meditations. That's the YouTube channel. And he has these great ones. He's like 30-minute vagus nerve resets. Oh, they're fantastic. All right. You basically just close your eyes and you just put some headphones on and you just listen to it and you follow his instructions and you do it. I'm not joking you. It does reset your vagus nerve. You could be an anxious, absolute mess, and you do that, you will walk away feeling so much better. All right. This is how you find balance and peace in your life, guys. This is, I know this is like something that I normally never talk about, but I think this is really, really important if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. So focusing on that. Okay. So we talked about setting boundaries. All right. We talked about how to stop thinking about your business. All right. Just stop thinking about it. Shut your mind off. Meditation, getting the intrusive, obsessive thoughts out of your mind. And when it comes to your business, the anxieties, depressions, etc. So we talk about those two things. Those two things, in my opinion, are basically, they're going to lay the foundation down to you finding peace. And then the other thing, I think the big thing is, another big thing is, the third point is you need to set a hard stop on your goals. When you reach a point, stop, right? You set a goal, and this could be short-term goals and long-term goals. This probably falls a little bit more into the boundary kind of aspect of this, but set yourself short-term goals. This week, I'm going to work on this. When I'm done, I'm done. I'm not going to work on it anymore, right? I'm not going to try to get ahead. I'm done, right? This month, my goal is this. You hit it, good. Relax. You met your goal, all right? Long-term goals. I want my business to generate $1 million a year net income. Great. When you hit that, do you want to keep going? Do you need more? Is it worth going more and more and more? I know guys out there that are worth $100 million and they still grind their ass off and they're never home with their kids. And it just, why? For what purpose? You can't take that money when you go. When you go, you're gone. You can't take that money with you. You know what I mean? So like, why are you still hustling? Why are you still doing this? You don't need any more. You got enough, right? So you make some goals like that, because if you don't, you'll just keep hustling and you'll keep grinding. You'll hit the hedonistic treadmill and you'll never get to your goal. You're just never going to. It's hopping on a treadmill. It's called the hedonistic treadmill. You're going to hop on it. trying to meet this hedonistic goal of more money or whatever, and you're never going to meet it because you're just on a treadmill. You're on a hamster wheel. You're just going to get nowhere. You'll just keep climbing and keep going. So you have to set yourself a goal, all right? I hit my goal. I had a net worth goal, and when I hit it, I said, I'm done. Like, I don't need to hustle anymore, and I'm not going to. And that is when I could say I probably became like financial free, retired early kind of a thing, if that's what you want to call it, right? I mean, I'm still not retired. I still do this. I still do a couple other little things, but I do it on my time. I don't have to do it. I do it because I like doing it. I like doing this, right? I like talking to other NPs. I like going to the conferences. I like doing this. It doesn't feel like work to me. So I met that goal. I hit that goal, and I said, I'm done. I am not hustling anymore. I'm done. And I was done. And it was one of the most freeing things that ever happened. This weight just lifted off my shoulder because I didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore, right? Like, I was done, all right? And speaking of which, don't let your ego get in the way. Your ego is probably one of the worst things. It is good for some things, but for the overall, it's going to get in the way of your peace, all right? That little thought in those thoughts in your mind, that little voice in your mind, a lot of times that's your ego trying to protect itself. But your awareness should say, I don't need protecting. I'm good where I'm at. I'm peaceful. I'm content. One of the happiest nurse practitioners I've ever met, I'm not going to mention her name, but she started a telemedicine, like women's health HRT practice. And I asked her one time, we did a consult, and I asked her, I was like, how many hours a week do you work? And she's like, 20. I'm like, that's all you work? And she said, yeah. I'm like, okay. And you're making this amount of money. She's making like $250,000, $300,000 a year net through her business. And I was like, you could probably make a lot more here if you did this or that, and you put a few more hours into it. And she said, why would I want to do that? I'm happy. Like, I make $250,000, $300,000 a year, and I work 20 hours a week. Like, what else do I need? She's like, I get to work. I get to work out. I get to do yoga. I get to hang out with my kids, blah, 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 whatever it is. Fair point. She was super happy. She's still happy today. I talk to her every once in a while. So she understood that. She found balance early on in her career as a entrepreneur. Okay. So these are the things that I want you guys to focus on. Set boundaries and make sure you respect that boundary. You follow through with that boundary. A boundary doesn't mean anything if you don't stick to it. Okay. If you say, I'm done at 5 o'clock, and you say, I'm going to give it 30 more minutes, you just crossed your own boundary. What's the point? All right. So if you set a boundary, you stick with that boundary. All right. Stick to your boundaries. Number 2, stop thinking about your business. All right. Those obsessive, intrusive thoughts about your business can overwhelm you, and you can go down these rabbit holes and make yourself absolutely an anxious, miserable mess. Like, you can. I've been there, and I'm sure many of you have. Don't entertain those thoughts. Don't entertain them. Just say, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Okay, if it happens, it happens. Cool, dude. Cool thought. Keep them coming. Seriously. And they'll stop. It blows my mind how well that works. All right. So think about doing some meditation as well. You will be a better, more focused, more successful entrepreneur if you can start meditating. I am serious about that. You are able to become a superhero when it comes to focusing on your business. You will have superhuman ability because your mind will be fresh, because you're going to be in the present for the most part. You're going to be aware of your thoughts. You're going to be present. And when it's time to focus on your business, you turn your mind on and you do a focused work, and you will be so much more productive. I guarantee you will. Okay. And then set some goals and stick to those goals. If you do those 3 things, guys, you will have much more balanced, peaceful life. I guarantee it. All right. If anyone has any questions whatsoever about any of this, please email me, justin@eliteMP.com. I'm happy to, answer your many questions, point you to a YouTube video that might have helped me. But try to get that book, Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I'm serious. Just get an audible of it. Just get an audiobook of it and listen to it while you're driving around. Okay. It'll change your life if you actually listen to it and integrate that advice into your head. All right. If If you guys like this, let me know. I can do more episodes like this. So, all right. Hope everyone takes care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcast. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.